Okay. Good evening, councillors and ladies and gentlemen. The council would like to advise that this meeting will be live streamed to YouTube and will subsequently appear on the council website. Could I please ask that all mobile devices are either switched off or to silent during this meeting? Apologies.
Councillors Gardner, Grayson, Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Machin.
Sorry, I've moved on. I need to discuss the Duke of Edinburgh. Sorry about that. The council would like to express its condolences to Her Majesty the Queen at the sad loss of her husband, the Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. The Duke was a remarkable man, always at the Queen's side helping her with state duties, and yet was still able personally to make an impact both nationally and globally. The Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, launched in 1956, is the most lasting legacy, which in 2009-20 achieved a record of 159,000 awards. The Duke of Edinburgh programme is now available in over 130 countries. Globally, he is praised for funding the World Wildlife Fund, and from 1961 to 1982 was its first president. The Duke was ahead of his time with his environmental concerns. Today, the WWF continues to be an independent conservation organisation active in nearly 100 countries. It works to sustain the natural world for both the benefit of people and wildlife. I'd now like to have a minute's silence, please, in respect to the death of the Duke of Edinburgh.
That's your minute there.
Thank you, Lisa. Right, can we move on with the agenda before I jump the gun? Declarations of interest.
Have we covered apologies, Chair?
Yeah, well, sorry, we'll go back over to apologies then.
Councillors Gardner, Grayson, Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Machin.
Thank you.
We've also got apologies from the town clerk this evening as well.
Declarations of interest.
None received, Chair.
Chair, I've got a requesting to speak on this item. Can I draw a declaration of interest on item 10, as I know who the tenant is and the potential land purchaser?
Thank you, Councillor.
Chair, equally, can I declare an interest in item 10, as I know personally the land holder.
Thank you. Public questions.
None received for this evening.
Planning.
None for this evening.
Cow Plantation Nature Reserve.
Yeah, it's just there for information, Chair. It's obviously a fantastic achievement, and there's obviously an opportunity for the members to see it on YouTube should they wish. And I just think it's a fantastic honour for everybody who's involved in it. And I think you've got the mayor looking to speak on this matter.
Councillor Madison?
Thank you, Chair. I think it's an excellent award. I think that the officers should be congratulated with the work that they've done. There has been a lot of partners involved in this exercise. There has been a lot of commitment from the town hall staff, from all county councillors, to make this a pleasurable experience for the residents of our town. I think it's good that we have been recognised for the work that has been done, and I hope that we can continue to make the cow plantation a success for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Can I come in after Liz while I'm on?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Chair. 16 years ago, when I first came onto this council, we had a cow plantation meeting, and we were told they've never had a one in 6 years. What everyone's done here, we've put 10,000 into this every year, and we've brought this on leaps and bounds, especially when people couldn't get out of the town in COVID. People are walking through here, seeing nature and enjoying it. I would like to thank the chair of the committee, Councillor McAloon, who has done an awful lot because he lives near there and he's always got his finger on the button. I would also like to mention a member of the public. For 30 years, he even had meetings with Terry Robson. That's Jeff. And what a job he's done. If anything's wrong, he phones people up. So congratulations to everybody, the town hall, the staff, Danny, everybody, and everybody should be proud of this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Madison. I think I'll let you in before Councillor Ranyard. Do you want to speak, Councillor Ranyard?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and no problem at all. Yes, I'd like to also congratulate the officers, the ground staff who've worked hard in the cow plantation, also to the admin staff who've applied for grant funding, which has been successful. And yes, also to the wider public who are using the facility, respecting the facility, the volunteer litter pickers that Councillor McAloon set up, who've done a great job getting in there as well and keeping it clean and tidy. So it's great news that we've been highly commended for the cow plantation, and hopefully it'll continue to improve as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ranyard. Councillor Richards, I believe you would like to speak.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to echo what Councillors Madison and Councillors Ranyard have said, that as somebody who's quite a recent member of the council, that as a member of the public, particularly what Councillor Madison said about during lockdown, I discovered the cow plantation for the first time during the first lockdown. And it is the most amazing place, and it's an amazing resource for our town. And I don't think there's anything like it. And we're very, very lucky to have it. And Councillor McAloon, you should be commended as the chair of that committee. And thank you to all staff that keep it looking so amazing. And we should be so proud of it. It's just something to shout about. It's such a great place. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. Would anyone else like to speak?
Yeah, if you don't mind, Chair, I would like to speak on behalf of the staff and on behalf of all the employees. Say thank you to Councillor McAloon and the rest of the committee and all the members for all of the support that the staff have received throughout this period, and to receive this recognition is an incredible achievement, and thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Ranson. I've got no one else to speak. Right, can we move on to item 7 now? Request to use the bowling club. The Spenmo Town Bowling Club would like to, has put a request in to use Victoria Jubilee Park again.
Yeah, through you, Chair, this is just basically an annual request where we allow the bowling club permission to use it for their fixtures. Obviously, the facility remains available to the public as well, but it just enables the bowling club to schedule all their fixtures and play the home games in Jubilee Park. It's something that's standard practice we've been doing for a number of years.
I've got no one down to speak, so do we agree with that?
Happy to move that. That's no problem.
Thank you, Councillor Foster.
I'll second.
Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item 8A. Colin, would you like to pick that up?
It's there for information. It's just advising what the situation is in relation to phone boxes, and it's just whether the council have got any comments to make in any shape or form.
Would any of the councillors from Tudor wish to say anything? Sorry, let's have a look. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Chair. This feels very familiar. I think it must be only a couple of years ago since we last discussed this, and clearly things haven't changed. As somebody who was brought up in Granger Street in Half Moon, this was my local phone box, and I think I mentioned last time the highlight of the week was us all gathering around the phone box, sticking the 2 pence in, and listening to the disc of the week that was played on the phone. You'd have a group of half a dozen kids listen to a record down a telephone. But that was a time when public telephones were essential to people, and unfortunately, as the numbers of people using this phone indicate, it's very few people who are now dependent upon the phone, and most people either have their own mobile phone, their own landline, or indeed can borrow one in the event of an emergency. I know in some places, both in Tudor Village and other areas, people have adopted the phones and use them for other purposes. I'm more than happy if anybody wants to make that suggestion, but I think it's unfortunate the phones like this one have reached the end of their useful life.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Richards.
Thank you, Chair. Well, as Councillor Foster was saying, other suggestions. I know that in other parts of the country they've repurposed these phone boxes to be the iPad defibrillators and have used as community defibrillators. Could that be something that we could maybe look into? Because that's a really vital resource for the community and saves lives. Because whilst, okay, yes, a phone box isn't used very often, but a defibrillator could save somebody's life if they have a heart attack in that local area. I think the more that we have of those around the town, the better for the population of Spennymoor. Thank you.
So taking 8A before I bring Councillor Madison in, I take it Councillor Madison wish to speak on Middlesbrough, yes. Are we happy for the phone boxes to be taken out? Do we need to correspond?
I've had a yes for that suggestion, Chairman. Middlesbrough. Don't know what's gone through or not, but
I haven't moved on to Middlesbrough yet, Councillor Hiley. I was just still discussing Tudor. Are we happy, Tudor councillors, that we should just let the boxes be taken out? Do we need to contact anyone to see if we want to do anything with the boxes, or should we just leave it as it is?
Could we possibly research into, like, Colin, I don't know if you're aware of what the cost of putting a portable defib in would be. I'm in contact with people in Walsingham and Weardale that do the defibrillators around Weardale, so I could speak to them and see how much their defibs have cost, because that, like I say, it's a vital community resource, and whilst we're losing the telephone box, maybe we should look at repurposing it into something that could save lives.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Richards. Possibly the facilities manager could take that, but we are happy that the phone boxes in Tudor are going to be taken out. So I'll move across to the phone box 8B in Middlesbrough, and I do have Clive or Mrs. Madison down to speak first.
Thank you, Chair. The phone box at Middlesbrough is actually quite damaged. It's got no windows in. So if we were to take that on, there would be expense added on for that. Actually, the report indicates that it is a red telephone kiosk. In fact, it's a standard grey one. There is a red telephone box in Middleton Moor, but it's actually in somebody's garden. So the one that is on Durham Road is actually one of the more modern ones, and it does have the windows broken in it. The suggestion is that there isn't the use of that phone box, and I think the suggestion with regard to a defibrillator putting in there is a good one. The only thing I would add to that is we would need to have a cost for a total repair of that before we moved on to that one. Thank you. Councillor Clive Madison would like to speak now.
Thank you. Carry on, Clive.
Thank you, Chair. If there were red phone boxes, everybody wants one. I would love a one in my garden, but these silver grey things look absolutely horrible. The scrapyard's the only place for them as far as I can see. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Hiley.
Yeah, I must agree with Councillor Madison's last remark. The phone box, especially in Middleton Moor, needs to be in the scrapyard. I've had consultations with the shop owner there who was to do the post office, and that particular phone box has been inundated with vandalism and attracts a few of the unruly youngsters in the area, and he's quite happy and even pleased that the BT have decided to take it away altogether. There is already notices in there from BT saying that this call box will not be no longer used after a certain date. So I'm fully in favour of and agreeing with the shop owners and the people on the front street that the one at Middleton Moor should go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiley. Now, Councillor Liz Madison, I've got you down again to speak. Have you already spoken?
I've already spoken, Chair.
Thank you.
Can we check through you, Chair? Just having a quick look at these again. It sounds awful, but there's no point in discussing this because in order to be taken account, any comments should be made via email to planning within 14 days of the date of this email. Well, that was the 29th of March. That was over 2 weeks ago. So, unfortunately, our suggestions are now as read, really.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Richards. So, well, there we are. The phone boxes will be taken out. Anyone else want to say anything before I move on? Right, item 9 was for the exclusion of press and public for discussing item 10. As chair, I've decided that I would like to take item 10 above the line. So can I hand it over to the facilities manager to go through the report?
Yeah, happy to do that at your request. However, Chair, as I've mentioned previously, my view is that this item should be below the line, and that's my professional opinion. However, I'm happy to take it as your prerogative if you would require it above the line. The purpose of the report is to provide members with an update of the land currently let for grazing in Turra. The council received a request to purchase the land from the current tenant. As a consequence of this this request, a professional evaluation of the land has been undertaken, and that has been valued at £12,000. Members should note that the land will require fencing work to the value of approximately £3,000 should the council elect not to sell the land, and the current tenant has a lease with the council till March 2022 with an annual rent of £250. It's also recommended that should the council elect to sell the land, it should ensure that the purchaser pays for all council's legal costs associated with any sale. The proposals are that from the officers is that in the first instance, the council offered to sell the land to the current tenant, which would generate £12,000 and also save the council a further £3,000 in required fencing work on the land. The purchase, and also that the purchaser pays all council's legal costs associated with the sale, and that a covenant be placed on the land that it can only be used for grazing or gardening purposes. Should the current tenant not take up this opportunity to purchase at the price quoted and the terms specified by the council provide the current tenant with appropriate notice of its intention to sell and provide 12 months notice to the individual, and that the council advertise the land for sale to any other interested parties. And recommendations are that the members approve the proposals as set out in officers in section 5 of the report.
Right, I think I've got Councillor Elizabeth Wood to speak first.
Well, if this chap hadn't decided he wanted to buy it, would we have continued to rent it? Are we putting him a bit on the spot if he can't afford to buy it? Then we're going to put it on the market for someone just to take it away from under his feet. It doesn't seem fair. We probably weren't going to sell it in the first place. And I think actually...
Through you, Chair, sorry to interrupt you, Councillor, the tenant asked us to purchase the land a couple of weeks ago, one of the last F&R meetings.
Yes, I know he asked to purchase the land.
Councillor Richards, could you just do RTS and then you can come in then? Could you just allow Councillor Wood to carry on, please?
I feel if this person can't afford to pay that amount of money, it's unfair that we're going to sell the land from underneath him. I think he should be allowed to continue to rent it. It's, you know, it's not fair. But also I am in favour of this being above the line, because if we sell something, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's better to be open. That's me done.
Thank you. I've got lots coming in here. I'm trying to get it in the right order. I think Councillor O'Reilly was actually first on the list there and just should have been in before Councillor Wood. Can you speak, Councillor Hiley?
Yeah, Chair. I remember when we did the, as a Vice Chair, we were at the pre-agenda meeting and certain issues were discussed and certain issues were taken off the table. I'm not 100% in favour of this going above the line, because we're giving other people an advantage to put offers over and above what we're asking the value for. And Councillor was perfectly right. We should be offering things like this to the tenant, but this is the last meeting of this administration, and I don't think this is the right place to discuss the sale of land when, you know, we are being asked to make a decision now which might jeopardise any other interest later on. Personally, I think this should be taken off the table altogether and left over to the next administration to sort out.
Well, you're welcome to move an amendment, Councillor Hiley.
Yeah, I would like to move that this proposal is left until the next administration. I'd like to move that. Thank you.
Have we got a seconder for that?
I'm happy to second Councillor Hiley's motion.
Right, then we'll need to go to a vote. Well, we'll go through the people who've got something to say on this. Councillor Clive Aldiss Madison.
Just trying to get the technology to function, Chair.
The hamster.
Chair, before we move on to a vote on that, this particular land, it is a community asset, and I hope that members, if it does go to a future meeting, will consider that it is a community asset and that there are all sorts of uses that can be applied to it. Nobody knows in the future what changes might be occurring. And when something like this, which is a sizable piece of land goes, it can't be replaced. I do think that it should be considered by the next administration, but the next administration also take account of this valuable community asset and not to sell it. Thank you. Clive
Councillor Richards?
Madison wishes to speak, Chair.
Yeah. Go ahead, councillor.
Is that me, Chair?
Yes, yes, Clive.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I just got missed a bit. When I've looked at this land is very close to the football field. It is very close to the community centre. When I read that the community centre has 35 car park spaces, well, not on proper car park and maybe on a field and on the road next to it. I think this is an asset which should be to go along with the community centre, and in years to come, there's loads of things which this could be used for. I'm not against the gentleman using it for his horses now, but I think we should do as Councillor Hiley has said, and then let the next administration take this into account, but I would keep it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Richards?
Thank you, and I'd like to apologise to Councillor Wood as well for my abruptness.
No problem.
I misunderstood what you were saying, so I do apologise for that. I think that obviously if he offered to buy it off of us, I think he'd have an idea of how much the land would be worth and how much he would be willing to pay for it. I do agree with you, Councillor Wood, in what you've said, that if we were then to sell it out from under him, it would be a bit underhanded. And I have to say I disagree with Councillors Madison's due to the area of where it is. You can't use it as a car park. There's no access to it. I live next to it, basically. You cannot get your cars down to it. It's grazing land. It wouldn't be suitable. It'd be taken away from the green spaces of it. So, and turn it into a car park. There's plenty of car parking at the community centre already. Again, but I do agree with Councillor Hiley that it shouldn't really be, when this is our very last meeting on this, that it's not the place for us to decide whether to sell it or not and to move it forward to the next administration. Thank you.
Councillor McAloon, I noticed you haven't got RTS, but you are waving, and you did say the technology might beat you. So are you wanting to speak?
Yes, I am, yeah, Chair. I'm just a bit puzzled. I know we've got a professional firm into value this, and it's 1 acre, £12,000. Recently, we sold some land, 555 square yards, and we got £27.50 a square metre. Now, I just think that's a lot cheaper. This is going to be a lot cheaper, this land here, than what we've previously sold. Could the facilities manager lighten us on that?
All I can tell you, Chair, is that the same company who valued the previous land have valued this. So that's as you know, we're getting a professional advice, and that's what we're presenting to council.
But through you, Chair, again, I have a letter here off a person who was refused some land because the town council wanted. It says Spennymoor Town Council have recently sold a piece of land, allotment land, at a price of £27.50 per square metre. Now, isn't that the going rate then? That's what I wanted to know. Is that the going rate?
Through you, Chair, the information that we receive comes from a professional company. Obviously, that's all we can do is pass on to members the information that we have.
So again, through you, Chair, was this person who we refused to sell the land of for less than £27.50? So you're saying that was a professional company valued that?
Through you, Chair, I've got no idea which land you're referring to or the circumstances, and we're not here to talk about that tonight. We're here to talk about the situation here.
I'm only saying that it was, this letter states that the council were wanting £27.50 per square metre. Now 1 acre for £12,000, that's 4,000 square metres. It just seems a bit cheap to me, like. That's all, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLoone. Your point's taken. We've had a motion to defer this, so would like.
Yeah, sorry, Chair, to interrupt. I've had the RTS in twice.
It hasn't come up. Sorry about that. Definitely hasn't come up. Okay, Councillor Malloy, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not really happy with this report, if I'm honest, because it's come through in a way that it seems that we've already agreed to sell the land, and we haven't, you know, and we get given a choice. We haven't even said from the outset, as I said, that we've agreed to sell the land. I'm totally opposed to selling off any piece of land. It belongs to the people, and we're the custodians of it, that I've said on many occasions. Yeah, and with regards to, even if we were to decide to sell it, you know, just having someone to give us an offer, the tenants, I don't think that's right. You know, if we decide to sell it, we should put it on the open market for people to come and do it, to put a price in if we were to go and sell it. But like Councillor Liz Madison said before, it's in a community area, and where it's located. Also, we don't know how big this town's going to expand in population. We may need more recreational space that could be used for like another play area, or we don't know if the Southern Industrial Estates will expand and future council may want to sell it and get more money that way, because there was a piece of land sold in Southern Industrial Estate not so long ago. Do we know how much that valued for? You know, was it a hell of a lot more than what this has been valued for, when it's more or less in spitting distance of one another? Is it classed as allotment lands? Then what's the procedures with that? You know, it's there's just far too many questions for my liking for this year, and I'll be opposed selling it. Thank you.
Well, we have a motion on the table to defer it. We not at this point in time changing the proposals. I mean, if we choose not to defer it, I suppose then we've got to vote on the proposals. So, Lisa, can you take a vote on the amendment, please, to defer item 10?
Okay, Councillor Miss Abley.
I'm for.
Councillor Foster.
Louise, Councillor Foster declared an interest in this item.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Harmer.
Or
Councillor Hayley.
Councillor Haley.
report.
Councillor Machin.
Against.
Councillor Mr Madison.
I'm for deferring it.
Councillor Mrs Madison.
Defer.
Councillor McAloon.
Defer.
Councillor Malloy.
against?
Councillor Ranyard.
For.
Councillor Mrs Richards.
For.
Councillor Mrs Thompson.
For.
Councillor Chair. Councillor Mrs Wood.
For.
So that's 10 for deferring the item and 2 against deferring.
Right, now, I may need to seek advice from the facility manager here. because we haven't actually amended the actual proposal. So the motion was just to move deferment. Does that then become the substantive motion? We vote on it again, or is that it? We voted to defer it.
On a point of order, Chair, if I can, the point of order being that you only had one motion on the table and you've just voted it through, so that's the item resolved.
That's rough.
Yeah, I was about to say, Chair, you've deferred the item completely, so it's just deferred.
I would like to say something before we move on, is that my decision to put it above the line was based on the fact that initially when we brought it to the pre-agenda, it was with co-joined with another item. And when that item's being taken out, I personally believe that it made this one less likely to go under the line. So I'm quite happy for it to be deferred, and hopefully the people in the future will pick up on it, and that they will take note, hopefully, of some of the comments that's been said tonight, and we'll just have to take it from there. Item 10 has been deferred to the next administration.
Can I just make one comment, Chair, if I may?
Well, I will allow you, Councillor Hiley, but really you had the opportunity, but carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like we've done in the past, can we have it deferred to the first meeting of the new administration of the Facilities and Recreation? That's what I was going to ask.
That wasn't part of the motion, Councillor Hiley. I think we'll just have to leave that to the officers when the time comes. I wouldn't imagine they'd want to delay it very often, but we'd have to go through again another motion if that was a situation where I think the motion is just to defer it and let the officers bring it back in their own time.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Everybody okay with that? Thank you, everyone.
Councillor Thompson,
Yes?
as this is your last meeting, can I speak on this, please?
Well, I'm sure we're going to Clive. Yes,
Well-
yes, man. I thought I was
Yeah, I
getting...
was going to do as well, Chair, so let Clive go
There
ahead.
may be quite a few, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Thompson, I've known you for 44 years. You were my next door neighbour. I would like to say what a great job you've done as a councillor in these last 20 years. You're one of only 3 people that's been a borough, a town and a county. And you've never been political in anything whatsoever. You've always been a man of the people. It's been an honour serving with you. So thank you very much for what you've done for this town, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Mallison. You've done a grand job, Kevin.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everybody.
Kevin, I would just like to thank you as well. You've been, we've been a great team together. Thank you very much for all that you've done.
Thank you, Liz. And we have been a good team. And I hope in many ways to continue being so. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been an interesting meeting, a sad one, but we've still got one meeting to go. So I'll see you all at the last meeting. Thank you very much.